Y'all ready to win Hays County? You ready to beat Beto? It's going to happen, and let me tell you why. Look, we got Kerry Isaac right over here. Give it up for Kerry Isaac. Let me tell you why. Kerry's going to win. Donna's going to win. We're going to win up and down the ballot because we are going to show the difference between what we've been able to succeed with conservative values and principles leading Texas to be number one versus what the radical left woke ideology of Beto O'Rourke and the Democrats would do to our state and to our country. And you know what? We are not going to let them win. Showing the contrast is going to be so very easy because let's take an example. I know a lot of people are concerned about it, and that is jobs and the economy and the inflation that the Biden administration has stuck America with. When it comes to jobs, Texas ranks number one in the United States since you reelected me for the most new jobs in the United States of America. When it comes to the economy, Texas has the fastest growing economy of any state in the entire country. Texas is the home of jobs and the economy. But know this. Here again, we got this contrast because we have Beto who has come out and said he wants to increase your taxes, spend more of your money, and what that would do, that would destroy the jobs and the economy that we have now, and it would increase your inflation even more. And I am running for re-election to keep Texas number one for jobs and the economy. Now, listen, as we all know, part of jobs in the economy in the great state of Texas is our prolific oil and gas industry. Texas ranks number one in the United States of America for oil and gas production. If Texas were its own country, we would rank like number third or fourth in the entire world for oil and gas production. And what Beto wants to do, Beto and his like-minded Democrats, they have embraced this radical leftist Green New Deal ideology that would destroy oil and gas production. It would eliminate hundreds of thousands of good-paying jobs, and it would drive up even more the price that you are paying at the pump. We cannot let that happen, and that's why I am running for re-election to keep Texas number one for oil and gas production. Now, there are many benefits to Texas having the best economy in the United States. One benefit is because of everything that y'all have produced, Texas is sitting on a budget surplus of $27 billion. Now, I'm looking at a lot of people in front of me, but I saw coming in, there are many people behind me way out over there. We're packed. We got well over, it looks like well over 750 people here. So for the people in the back who may not have understood me, we have a budget surplus of $27 billion. And we're going to spend that in the next session taking care of education needs and health care needs and other needs that we have in the state of Texas. But let me ask you this question. Whose money is that? You're right. It's you, the taxpayers. And so I want to use at least half of that surplus to give you the largest property tax cut in the history of the state of Texas. Here again, we got a difference between myself and Beto because Beto, when he was on the city council of El Paso, he raised property taxes 3 times. We do not need anybody in the governor's office who would raise your property taxes. I am the only candidate for governor with a real plan to lower your property taxes. If you want lower property taxes, vote Greg Abbott to be your next governor. But listen, we all know that the election is about far more than just economics. One component of our elections is about the future of our kids. I hear some kids back here right now. And listen, they got a future we need to take care of. And one way we take care of our kids is through education. And know this, No governor in the history of Texas has provided more funding for education than I have. No governor in the history of Texas has provided more funding for teacher pay raises than I have. And per student funding today is the highest that has ever been. But one thing we all know, and that is money does not automatically lead to results. And one thing that we've seen, especially in the region that we're gathering in here, right here today, we're seeing our kids being taught wokeism and the radical left agenda. They're being taught critical race theory, their over-sexualization of the classroom. And tell you what, our schools, they are for education, not indoctrination. And I will not allow your tax money to be used to teach our kids to hate each other or to hate our country. They need to be taught why America is the greatest country in the history of the world. There are many people here today who helped shape America into the greatest country. Among them are those who wore the uniform of the mightiest military in the history of the world. If you've ever served in the United States military, will you wave your hand so we can see you and thank you for your service? God bless you all, and God bless you for your service and what you've done. Listen, one thing I know about these service members, these people, they put their lives on the line. They worked hard. Some even who are not with us anymore lost their life fighting for one thing, and that is the freedom that America stands for. And we are not going to allow the voices of socialism take over our state or our country. We are going to fight for your freedom in this election and in this next session. Something else is so important that we see prolifically in Austin, but as well as other communities across the state of Texas, and that is public safety is of paramount importance. And one of the most radical ideas that we've ever seen are some of these cities across the United States of America that see a dramatic rise in crime because of this radical leftist ideology of defunding the police. Y'all know that it happened in Austin, Texas, where Austin, Texas defunded their police by more than $100 million. And in the aftermath of that, they led to the highest number of murders ever to take place in Austin, Texas. Defunding the police is deadly. Defunding the police is something that Beto O'Rourke and his fellow liberal Democrats, they embraced. Well, in Texas, in Texas, we don't defund the police. We support our law enforcement officers, period. So we wanted to make sure that would never happen again, and so I worked with Senator Campbell this past session, and we passed a law that will defund any city that defunds their police. Now, y'all know that there's even one thing that's even more dangerous than the defund the police movement, and that is the Democrat-led and Joe Biden-imposed open border policies that are wreaking havoc in the United States of America. And so know this. Beto said there's no problem on the border. Beto actually wanted to reduce immigration enforcement. That's radical. It's crazy. It will not be tolerated, and we will make sure it does not happen. Because of what Biden has done, get these facts. It was just 2 years ago that we had the fewest border crossings in decades because of 4 policies put in place by President Trump. Remain in Mexico, Title 42, end, catch, and release, and build a border wall. That led to the lowest border crossings in 4 decades. But maybe more important than that was his ideology, and that is, listen, if you want to come to America legally, not illegally. But when Joe Biden came into office, he and his fellow Democrats, they eliminated all of the strategies that were put in place that led to the lowest border crossings. And now under Joe Biden, just this past year alone, there have been more than 2.2 million people come across the border illegally. To give you a context here, the city of Houston, it took them 100 years to have a city that had 2.3 million people. In 1 year, we had a Houston, Texas come across the border illegally. That's unacceptable, and that's why Texas has led the way and done things that no other state has ever done. From the time of George Washington till the time of today, the only state to ever build its own border wall is the great state of Texas. As we gather here in Hays County today, we have the National Guard on the border, and they are repelling or turning back people who are trying to get into the country illegally. Give it up for the great National Guard and what they're doing. And if people coming across the border make it past them, we have the Texas Department of Public Safety arresting them and putting them in jail for either trespassing in the state of Texas or returning them back to the border. And to show you how dangerous this is, it was just 2 weeks ago where DPS, they arrested a man from Honduras, and when they booked him, they realized a warrant was out for his arrest for murder. We got dangerous people coming across our border that we need DPS down there to be making these arrests. But also you see something else going on the border, and that is you see them coming across the border in single file line led by a cartel member. They all pay money to the cartels and coming across the border, and they are taken to a location that is owned or operated or controlled by the federal government. The cartels take them there because they know that the Border Patrol at that location will process their paperwork and let them go into the United States with the authority of the United States of America. And then the Border Patrol is dumping them off into these small little towns on the border like Del Rio and Eagle Pass and others. And I was down there meeting with them in April. And they said, listen, Governor, we got to have help here because we're completely overrun. We have no ability to deal with these migrants. The volume of them, we have no place to keep them, no way to help them, no assistance, anything like that. I said, I'll take care of you. Beginning the next week, we begin busing them to Washington, D.C. So why Washington, D.C.? Well, for one, Washington, D.C. is a sanctuary city, self-declared. And this is typical Democrats. They virtue signal, oh, listen, we're for sanctuary cities, all that kind of stuff, and they can talk big like that until they're pressed to do it. They had only like a couple of hundred migrants, and they began crying and complaining and saying, oh, we can't handle this. We can't handle a couple of hundred immigrants. Listen, we get that many per hour in the state of Texas, and they need to step up and do their duty. And also, you may have noticed we changed the location where we're dropping them off in Washington, D.C. What happened is Kamala Harris came out and said there's no problem on the border. She said the border is secure. And I felt a need to be involved in the education process. And as a result, now the migrants that we're sending to Washington, D.C., they're being dropped off at the residence of the Vice President of the United States of America. And then we were only sending them to Washington, D.C., and literally out of nowhere, we had the mayor of New York started complaining that we were dropping them off in New York, which we were not. But he kept complaining, and thought, well, listen, if I'm going to get the criticism, I'm going to get the credit. And we started sending them to New York City, which also is a sanctuary city. But get this about New York. So Mayor Adams in New York is complaining because they have, I don't know, like 25 or 30,000 migrants in New York. And he says they need $1 billion to be able to deal with that small number of migrants that we get sometimes in a single day in the state of Texas. Let me tell you something. If New York gets $1 billion, Texas deserves $1 trillion to deal with what we're dealing with. So let me tell you something. All this is going to change. It's going to change very rapidly, very soon. It's going to change beginning on Tuesday, November the 8th. And let me tell you why. Let me tell you why. There are 3 Latinas who are running for the United States Congress, 3 Republican Latinas running for the United States Congress on the border. Two of whom are married to Border Patrol officers. And they are going to win. They're going to turn South Texas red. But more importantly, when they go to Washington, D.C., the first thing they are going to do is fire Nancy Pelosi as Speaker of the House. The second thing that I am imploring them to do is this. Remember this idiotic idea that Joe Biden came out with where they want to hire 87,000 IRS agents to give you a lot of trouble for nothing. But here's the deal. They have not yet been funded. They will have to be funded by the next Congress. The next Congress is going to be run by Republicans. I'm urging the Republicans, do not fund those 87,000 IRS agents. Instead, take that money and fund 87,000 Border Patrol agents to secure our border. And we got to do it because of a deadly issue that we're facing on the border, and that is the importation of deadly fentanyl. Get this. The leading cause of death in the United States of America for people ages 18 to 45 is not car wrecks or cancer or COVID. It is fentanyl. In Texas last year, we lost about 1,700 people because of fentanyl. This comes from China, goes to Mexico. Mexican drug cartels lace it onto drugs that look like ordinary prescription drugs. People take it. One pill will kill somebody. And I am tired of the Mexican drug cartels killing our Texans, and that's why last month I declared drug cartels as terrorist organizations, and we are going after them. Listen, to say the least, there's a whole lot at stake in this election. A lot of the line. The border is on the line. Your taxes are on the line. Your freedom is on the line. Your future is on the line. What you have to do with regard to your jobs, all of that is on the line, as well as your safety is on the line. But let me tell you something even more important than that. The winner of the election on November the 8th is not going to be me. It's going to be you. You, your family, your children, your grandchildren, but maybe more important than that, your values will either be won or lost on Election Day. Either we keep Texas, Texas, or Texas turns into this leftist, radical agenda that we cannot accept in our state. And you know what? We will not accept it, and I can guarantee it, because I am going to beat Beto on November the 8th. But remember this key fact, and that is speeches do not win elections. Only one thing wins elections, and that is votes. Now, I know that many of you here have already voted, and that's fantastic. I also know, however, that many of you have not yet voted. Never put off till tomorrow what you can do today. So let me tell you what's going to happen in 1 minute. In 1 minute, I'm going to stop talking, and I'm going to stay up here and take a picture with everyone who wants a picture. But then after that, if you have not voted, I need you to go vote today. Get your vote in, get it cast. Who knows what's going to happen on Tuesday? Who knows what the weather's going to be, or whatever the case may be. You have to go vote at your closest voting location today. Get it done. Get your vote in. Get it banked. But then, obviously, if you don't do that, make sure you go vote on Tuesday. But get this. If you've already voted, or if you vote today, you still will not have completed your duty to democracy to ensure that we keep Texas going in the right direction. It is time for everybody to get off the sidelines and get into the game. So here's what you have to do. After you take a picture, after you go vote, you got to then do what I'm about to tell you right now. You got to tap into those phones that you have in your hands or your pockets or your purses right now, and each of you need to tap into 100 of your closest friends, your contacts in your phone, and you got to send them a text message today, and that is, go vote for Governor Abbott today before the polls close. But here's what we know is going to happen. Listen, some people will do that. Some people may not do that. So you got to keep sending that message today. Then send it tomorrow. Go vote for Governor Abbott on Tuesday. and then say it again on Sunday and Monday and on Tuesday also. And here's what's going to happen. Some of you will get a return reply from that text that has a picture that says, I went to go vote, and that's great. Others of you will get a reply text saying something like this, and that is, if you ever text me again. But either way, that shows you will have penetrated, you have reached your audience, and that's what we need you to do. So listen, we got well over 500 people here, but if we just have 500 people send out 100 texts, that is 50,000 votes that we will be getting out. 50,000 votes where we can vote against all these radical leftist liberals in Austin, Texas, who vote against your values, and that will help us go all the way. And then on November the 8th, when I'm declaring victory, once again, beating Beto, I will say one reason I did is because the people of Hays County turned out to vote for me beginning today, right here. So thank you, Hays County, for what you've done.